My name is Lynda Reiss. I'm the director of Perfect Match, and Perfect Match is a movie about a woman who's looking for her soulmate and invites a friend over to help her search the internet for one.
Well, thank you for doing this today, Linda.
Oh, you're welcome. I feel like family over here with you guys now.
Yeah, it's your third film with us.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a different film than what you've done before.
Very different, very different.
Yeah.
Um, and there were a lot of reasons for that. Um, I I would go to festivals and I would watch shorts and I would hear filmmakers go, "Yeah, I made this movie for $500 in my house." And I'm like, why can't I make a movie for no money? Why do I always have to have big stuff or stages or things? I mean, it's fun and I love it, but I was like, I need to have an exercise in doing something really small. So there was that. There was the fact that I want to direct television as well as features, and a lot of television is people talking,
Hmm.
and so I wanted to be able to have something to show that showed, how I could shoot a 5 or 6 minute conversation with people. And I also wanted to do it really small, wanted to do it in my house, wanted to use actors I knew. And the other thing that I said to my DP was, I don't want any lights. I want no trucks. I want the smallest footprint possible. And I want you to all use practicals. And I'm like, look, Roger Deakins can shoot with practical lighting, so you can do it. And what they came up with, which is fascinating, I've never seen them before, these LED lights that you put into practical, they look like a light bulb, put them into practical lights, and then you run them off and they run the whole spectrum from the iPad.
Yeah.
So we were able to use all the practical lights in my house and dim them or temperature change them on the iPad as we needed. So my crew, including my cast, was 8 people, and we shot it in a day, and we shot it in my living room.
The whole thing in so that's your house that you shot
That's my house. Everybody knows what it looks like now,
in.
except for the horrible net curtains as they go into the dining room. Those are not mine. But we had to not see outside. So it was sort of an exercise in trying different things and trying to do something. And the story itself, Jana Brown, who is the writer, I had met her at another festival where her film had won Best Feature, and Ready to Go had won Best Short. And so we hooked up and we stayed in touch, and we were working on another project. So anyway, the story came up during a conversation, and it was great. It's initially had started with, I just wish I could do something in my house for very little money. And so at the beginning of this year, because of the COVID thing and not being able to really shoot and not being able to do stuff, I know people did it, but I didn't. I just, January 1st, I was like, okay, this year I'm going to make this short. There's some other projects that I'm working on that we're doing, and I'm like, I'm just going to do it, just going to do stuff this year. And so because I was doing it at home, because I knew the actresses, I had initially figured I could sort of call in favors. I knew the person who owned the camera, so that was a very minimal rental fee. And I thought I could do it really cheaply. And so to self-finance, I was the prop master on a very popular 80s television show, Stranger Things, and I had some things that were my props that were used in the show. And I get calls all the time asking, well, do you have anything? Will you sell anything? And normally I don't. And this time I thought, okay, those things are taking up space on the shelf, and I could sell a couple of those things and finance my movie. And so that's what I did. and I actually got more than I anticipated. So I was actually able to pay everybody for the day that they came. So it's again one of those things where it's the first time I've actually, been able to pay. It's a very small crew, but been able to pay everybody and do it. So it was an exercise in a lot of different things, and it's a very sort of it's cute. There's not a lot of deep meaning behind it. It's just a cute little movie, and knew it would do. I knew it would do well in the circuit because it's a great padder
Mhm.
short to go between dark comedies to pop into places. So I knew that we've been getting a lot of selections, which is great. Yeah, and I love working with my actresses again. It's all people I've met on the circuit. And so and we had one guy, but it was primarily women. Um, had a colorist in Russia who we were having to like talk to via somebody in Serbia because of the war, and
Yeah.
they had all their stuff cut off. So there's all sorts of little stories around it.
It was interesting when I saw your short, because I didn't expect something like this from you, because your previous films, Ready to Go and Lancaster Park. Lancaster Park was a heavy drama, and Ready to Go was like kind of a darkish comedy. I didn't,
Right.
seeing this, it was like, oh, here's this light, you know 5 minute, 7 minute film from you. And it's perfect because it's that's what festival programmers actually crave more. And to give it away a little bit, but the job of being a festival programmer is you're watching all these films, and filmmakers tend to just do dramas and send
Right.
them in,
Right.
like 15-minute dramas, and you're just like, God, I wish I had a comedy to put in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's funny because again, I want to get into TV, and after COVID, um, you started to look, and I was talking to programmers, but I was also talking to TV people, and because I've got a pilot that I've written, and we were talking to buyers, and everyone's like, look, everyone wants Ted Lasso. Everybody wants something that makes you laugh, makes you feel good. That's what people want to watch right now. We've had 2 years of, oh God, the end of the world is coming. People just want something lighter. So it was, that was another reason why I'd had that script for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it for the very reason that you'd said. It's like not what would be classified as like a Lynda Reiss film. And at the beginning of this year, I was like, look, I haven't shot anything for a year, so I got to shoot something, and that's done and dusted. And you know what? I'm just going to do it as something different. And and we had fun, and it was a day, and and people love it. It's interesting. It's getting a wider uh, appreciation than the people either loved Ready to Go or couldn't watch it because of the subject matter. um Lancaster Park, like you say, is a heavy drama, but this, it's just like it's a nice little feel good 7 minutes
Yeah.
you know
Is this the beginning of your festival run with it, or are you in the middle?
at the beginning,
Okay.
yeah, we just had our um premiere at the Del Rey Festival, which unfortunately I couldn't go to because I was in the UK that week. But yeah, we're going to start to have screenings now over the next 5 or 6 months.
How well is it doing in the festivals?
It's doing pretty good. It's doing pretty good. We didn't get into a couple of the bigger ones that I had got into before, but I think those ones tend to focus more on the drama
Hmm.
side. But again, you just don't know. It's like programming is programming, and it's like it might be a great thing, but it just doesn't fit in with the blocks that we're creating. So, but I hadn't made this one for that reason. You know, I'd made it for all the reasons I talked about earlier. And because it just came out so much better than I thought it was going to come out. I thought it was just going to be like, okay, that's that. And then I watched, and you know, people watch it, and I was like, you know what? I just love watching people like laugh and enjoy it. And the actress Regina, who plays Alice, is just has the most expressive face, and I love her, and she's such a great comedic actress, and she should be a season regular on television somewhere. She's just so good. And so that was the other reason, you know, to like punch it out in the circuit, because again, it's like, it's not all about me, you know.
Yeah.
It's about bringing my crew and my cast exposure too, especially as like my editor. It's the first big film, 7 minutes, but big thing that she has edited, and she's a natural, you know. It was like, and to be able to show the girls, and just like that, it's just that everybody gets a chance to have it out there and be seen.
Yeah.
So it's good.
I think it'll do well. Like I said, with programming, festival programmers are craving really short comedies because everyone sends them dramas and long dramas, and
Yeah,
you need levity in between the dramas, and you can't just have 90 minutes of drama out
I
one
know.
film after another. So it's this I thought it was a perfect just to slide in there to in between.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting from programmers, from festival directors of places that I've said, you know, been in before and done well in. I've sent it in, and everyone sort of come back and go, not what I expected from you, but it's really adorable. We're going to put it in,
Yeah.
you know. And we think that, and so it's, you know, that's great, and people will see it, and that's all I want, you know. And at heart, I mean, I loved doing Lancaster Park, but at heart, I'm much more closer to the ready to go dark comedy,
Mhm.
and I'm realizing that that's where my voice is better, plays better, is in the more, you know, finding the more comedic aspects within everyday life, you know. So it's good for me to be able to show that I can cut to that timing.
What's next for you?
I have, funnily enough, I sort of put the word out just recently. I'm like, look, I am available to direct. It's a muscle that I need to keep using, and I just need to do it. But I do not want to be involved in like the fundraising and everything else. I just want to be, you know, the person you bring in to direct the project. And subsequently, I got a bunch of people send me things, and there's two or three that I really like. One centers around festivals, which is really funny, and we're hoping to get that done before the end of the year. And yeah, I've got projects that I've written that I want to direct, and written that I want to like show run, that are out being read right now. So there's a lot of irons in the fire, but there's no definite date of anything happening next, but things are happening.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I think I saw something else. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're doing a cooking show too? Is it?
Yeah, so my daughter is a food stylist,
Okay.
and she came out to do food on season 3 of True Detective, when
Okay.
I was shooting that in Arkansas. And Arkansas, like when I was in Georgia, has the most awesome junk stores and antique places and everything in these tiny little towns. And it's like my heaven to do that on the weekend, just cruise around and go places. She came out to visit. We went out, and she found this cookery book that was obviously some little 1950s wife's cookbook, and it was all full of handwritten recipes and all sorts of things. And at the time we joked about it, and I said, oh, you should do a Julia and Julia concept, you know, and we should shoot that. And it kind of got put on the shelf. And that was the other thing at the beginning of the year. I'm like, I'm going to do my short, and I'm going to do treasured recipes. and treasured recipes will show, because that's the other thing, in addition to having to tell stories, I also have to pay the bills.
Hmm.
It's trying to find something that will incorporate doing what I love to do and pay the bills. And we're trying to gear my production company with treasured recipes towards food commercials. And so that was a good way for her to do, we started to do that. And fascinating learning curve. Never done anything like that before in my life. The first block of 8 that we did,
Oh,
and
you shot 8.
we've shot. And I said to her a couple of weeks ago, we were both like, I'm so tired, and why am I so tired? And I'm like, I've shot 8 short films in 3 months is what we've
Wow.
done, because the YouTube ones that come out once a week are like 12 to 15 minutes. And then we're dropping on TikTok, Reels, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts 5 times a week, like snippets and pieces. So all of those things have to get cut and edited and put together. The first 8 that we shot, we did all back to front, all upside down, or not intentionally, just like, oh, let's just do this.
Hmm.
And now we're into the second, we're five weeks into the second block, and we got it down now.
Okay.
And we just were looking at the cuts of the first 2 of the second block, and she cried. She was like, we looked at it and we're like, that's a real cooking show. We're not messing around now. That looks absolutely beautiful. So we're really excited. And for my production company, it's good to be doing something, even if it's not necessarily, me directing.
Hmm.
My company can still do other things. And so, yeah, so that's been really fun. And now the beginning, she was really kind of freaked out about doing it. And we sort of created a monster because she loves it now.
How
And
many are you going to do?
we had raised enough money to do 2 blocks of 8. And now that we had originally like found a kitchen, which subsequently we discovered was not the right kitchen for us for angles, etc. So again, we're shooting it all in my kitchen here, but we've set it all up, made it. It's kind of like Lego blocks now. We have a butcher block thing that comes in. We have camera that clamps here, a camera that clamps here, a camera that's here, handheld. We've kind of got a system going. We're not trying to do it all in a weekend. We're doing 1 a week.
Hmm.
So she'll come in and make the entire dinner rather than shooting different different recipes. So we reckon that we can do it fairly cheaply for another block if she's willing to put the money in at that point. And it wouldn't be a lot, maybe, I don't know, 500-600 a month or something, and we could do that because that would basically just be paying for our editor.
Yeah.
And so, because we think that we need the algorithms say you need about 20 months to get enough followers to be able to monetize that. I feel that we need another block of 8 so that I can then start to go to like the cooking channels.
Yeah.
And and she's finding her voice too, because that's what we're selling. Is we're selling her like Jamie Oliver didn't start selling cookery books at the beginning. It was Jamie Oliver you went to watch because he was fun
Yeah.
to watch. That's what we're trying to do with her, is to make her the product. And then also through my years of propping, I have a lot of contacts with brand companies. So the next block now that is looking so good, I feel now I can start to go to brand companies to see if we can get some sponsorship.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for selecting. And I'm going to try and get out there this year.